Okay. I hope everybody had a great Mother's Day. I thought about it today, and there's a lot of different components to insurances. So I figured today I'd spend some time talking about deductibles. As you can see behind me, I'm going to give you a different wall every time. There's my Christmas decorations that need to go up to the attic, and they're still sitting there, and they're probably going to sit there until Christmas time again this year, but oh well. Okay. I'm going to use two different examples, maybe three, to try to explain the differences in deductibles. If you're lucky enough to be in the elevator constructor union, you have killer insurance and you have no reason to ever whine or be upset. I used to have this plan, and this plan, the deductible, first of all, it's an amount that an insurance company or company says you have to pay for certain things prior to your insurance covering any cost. Any services that you have rendered at, if it's at a hospital, an imaging center, a lab, whatever the case may be, those services all go towards said deductible. Once you meet the deductible amount, then your insurance will pay at whatever percentage rate beyond that. That's another topic, so I'll cover that once we get there. Anyway, so the elevator union, their benefits are, or were the last time I checked, they had a $300 individual deductible and a $600 family deductible, I believe. What this means is the first $300 at wherever they go, doctors, lab, hospital, imaging, that has to be paid by the member or the insured, whether it be the person that works in the elevator union, their spouse, their child, whatever, goes towards your $300 deductible. Once $300 is paid, then the elevator insurance pays for any services rendered for the remainder of the calendar year at 100%. The family deductible being $600, meaning if there's 5 people in a family and 2 of those people meet their deductible, annual calendar year deductible of $600, then nobody else has to meet the deductible for the remainder of the year. So only 2 people out of a family of 5 have to meet that deductible. And then for the rest of the year, any claims they have, any visits, anything is covered at the 100% coinsurance for the remainder of the calendar year. As I said, this is great insurance. $300 is not normal. It's a great benefit plan, but and this is off topic again, and it's something I'll get into on a future date, but it's a self-funded plan, meaning the union is in control of the benefits. Not an insurance company, not a government, not shareholders, whatever the case may be. It's the union. They set the benefits. They say what their members have to pay, and then what the union, because it's all paid by the union. Again, if you're lucky enough to be part of the elevator union, you're lucky. Don't ever whine. You may have other questions, but believe me, you are way above average if you have those benefits. As I said, we used to, not anymore. Now, my husband and I have a $2,000 calendar year deductible each. And there's only 2 of us on the plan, which means we're never the family deductible, regardless if we meet it or not. Doesn't matter. It's both of us. So if he meets his 2,000, I still have my 2,000, and that's the way it goes. We do have assistance in that the company that he works for puts a certain amount. I believe with us it's like $1,200, somewhere around there, into what they call a health spending account, and that means that the first $1,200 of either one of our deductible, one or the other, it's a combined. It's not, I don't get 1,200 and he gets 1,200. It's just a one-time 1,200. That it's paid from that health spending account first. Once the health spending account is depleted, then we're responsible for the remainder. So let me explain. My husband was recently in the hospital. And we all know how hospital charges are. If you walk in the emergency room, it's $5,000. Well, for him being in the hospital for two days plus the emergency room, possible cardiac episodes. So he had stress tests, he had echoes, he had labs every day, on a telemetry form, meaning he was hooked up to a heart monitor the entire time. The only amount that we're responsible to pay is $4,000, a little over $4,000, which represents the 20% coinsurance that we're responsible for. The health spending account paid, there was enough in there to pay for the deductible, the $1,200. And then I had some claims that hit, so that, because that took part of it too. So for the actual hospital, we're only responsible for a little over $4,000. And then we owe another, I think, $600 to part of the emergency room bill. But the complete and total bills that came in totaled over $21,000. So after the deductible and after what the insurance paid, our co-insurance part is 20%. So we're responsible for 20% of the contracted rate, which came out to be, the 4,000 in one instance and 600 on another. But since his deductible is now met for the entire year, we're only responsible for any claims he has, whether it be labs, whether it be a doctor's appointment, any further testing, any further imaging he has for the rest of the year. We're only responsible for 20% of the contracted rate. That's our coinsurance. So in my, I think, first or second, I don't remember which video, it talked about prepayment for services. And that's why I said a lot of these places, they don't have their contracted rates right in front of them. So when they're pulling out an amount, it's not based on a factual number. A lot of them, because the billers, they don't think about it. They don't know. If it's not loaded in their EMR system, they don't know. So they're going to throw a number out there and hope that you pay it. And that's why I said it's not necessary for you to pay for it prior to the services being rendered, even though they're going to tell you have to, unless they have the contracted amount for the services you're having done. Say you're having an MRI of your lower back, okay? And they tell you have to pay $300 towards your deductible before you have the test done. Well, when you talk to them, ask them, okay, is that the contracted rate or is that the billed rate? Because if they're charging you $300 from their billed rate, no, stop, end of story. You do not have to pay that unless they are talking about, or they contacted your insurance, or you contacted your insurance with the CPT code and got the amount that is the contracted rate. If they're going off a billed rate, you are not responsible for any part of the billed rate until your insurance processes the claim and puts it towards your deductible. Then, yes, unless you have a health spending account, a flexible spending account, a health reimbursement account, it's the same thing. They're all three the same thing. It's just a different name. Then you don't have to pay that amount before services are rendered. You can wait until it's processed by your insurance. I said, unless they actually called your insurance or you contact your insurance and you find out what the contracted rate is for the services you're having done. If you're talking to somebody in a billing department that's any good at their job, then they'll do that. If not, and they don't take that extra step, they're just trying to do what is considered their job and getting you to pay some amount before you have it done. But that's not how healthcare works. And that's not the way that you have to do it. Ask the questions before you put any money out of your own pocket into somebody else's. If something I said doesn't make sense or I got off topic or you have any questions, comment, ask me a question, and I'll answer it as soon as I can. Have a great day, and we'll talk soon.